points on the less. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in at September 7th, 2021, and the stock market is going to be bullish this weekend. I'm going to be buying the Warren Buffett rumor stock. We have to go over that. I made a weird play on Friday, but I'm really liking it, and it brings up a couple of strategy points that we could talk about. But even though we have the holiday today, the rest of the world has still been open, and it is looking like we are going to get a good start tomorrow. If we actually even come and look at the rest of the world, every single market for the most part did do good. There was some issues in South America and what it means for commodities, but Europe, Asia Pacific, it was all looking very strong. So as we get into tomorrow, and off of what we came from last week, if you guys remember, you had the jobs report, you had a lot of back and forth with Powell and everything before that, so it is putting us in an interesting spot. However, some of these developments over the weekend and Friday, it has the market feeling a little bit bullish. So we got a lot to talk about. I want to go over everything that happened over the last few days coming into yesterday or even today, what we got for the rest of the week in the stock market, the plays that we made on Friday, and then the plays that we're looking at for the rest of the week. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes for open. It's the first link in the description, and it's pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the stock market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch us come to life. And yes, you missed me. I missed you. You know, and that's why we're there. I missed you. It was a lot. I built Legos. I finished the Lego set. And I just missed the chat, Ed. The most important thing you need to do, post your watch below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything. Post them below and source that info. Shout out to chat, baby. And please do not forget, today is Monday. Tomorrow's Tuesday. But how we start off the beginning of the week here, we got the random account generator. And what we ask is that you post on the watch list right now an option trade, specific strike price, expiration, all of that good stuff. Keep it below $100. And we are going to pick a random play and buy it. And we like to see the performance. So we need another play here, chat. Shout out to everybody who has done it. But right off the bat, coming into tomorrow, pretty much all of the bullishness that you got last week was really a bet on delayed tapering after that jobs report. So if you remember, we got Powell and Jackson Hole. That wasn't really too much. And then everybody was waiting for that jobs report. And it was really the worst jobs report in the last 7 months. It missed every expectation. But now some people are even calling this an advanced trade now because they're saying the bad news is so good, considering now it is making way for the tapering to be delayed. And now you got the whole market pretty much talking about all this again. Even though we saw Powell, some people are really saying that the tapering might get substantially delayed, and that could be bullish for the market. So if you were a little bit confused as to why we kept going up on Friday in the last few days, this will explain it. And now on top of that, if you remember on Friday, the Japan president, the prime minister, he stepped down, and now a lot of people are even pricing in the effects of new Japan leadership and what that could mean to both the Japanese economy, but as well as the global economy and even the United States in certain investments. So that was actually a little bit of a sleeper piece of news, but you got to see how it's played out so far, even today with our markets closed. Again, everything overseas did very well. Now, coming into the rest of this week and what we're going to focus on, actually, here's your first pretty picture. This one is interesting. This is supply of bauxite. I don't know if I said that right, but this is from Guinea, the West African country. They had a military coup where a part of the military is pretty much suspended the Constitution, and this even sent aluminum going to really 10-year or decade highs, but it's not because of their aluminum production. It's more of bauxite and what is needed to make aluminum. So this is going to be in focus, I'm sure, as we come into tomorrow, because now this could affect the commodities a lot, and you have a lot of people talking about it. So other than that, though, the rest of the week is going to be pretty straightforward. We got a couple of developments on the news side, but then as far as what we're going to be expecting, we will be getting a lot of economic data from other countries, not as much for the United States. On our end, we are just going to get the job openings on Wednesday. That is going to be pretty crucial for us just in the context of everything we've been looking at. Here is the job vacancies, and this is what it's going to be showing, the amount of jobs that are going to be open, and this is just a flip-flop from the employment report, because now you have wages going up, employment is not coming up, but the amount of jobs you could see here, just compare this to any other time in the last 10, 20 years, this this is a huge jump, and it's highlighting that need. So we will see how it plays in. Again, you see the market taking things bullish for the most part with the bad jobs report. So any follow-on data could be important, and that is going to be for Wednesday. And then what we got today, most of the stimulus for employment assistance, all of that, a good portion of pretty much all of it has ended, even though states have the ability to still support people. For the most part, a lot of the benefits that have been offered over the last year and a half, they have now came to an end today. But now another big piece of information we're also going to get this week that we're going to have to watch for is that we will most likely, this is just the estimate so far, people are speculating on it, but we are supposed to be hearing from the president on whether or not he is going to renominate Jerome Powell or not. So depending on how that plays out, that could have some big implications. It could be big or could ease the market if they find out he is going to be staying, and that could reduce the element of confusion here in the future. And then you're going to be getting Fed Kaplan on Wednesday for the virtual town hall, so that will have some effect. And then I think I skipped over it here, but this one is also going to be key for Thursday. The EU is going to be talking about tapering. They're going to have their interest rate decision, but if you remember about a week or two ago, they started to discuss it and it had an interesting effect on the market, but now they are starting to have their own little version of their taper talk. So depending on how that plays out, that could be very, very important. Now, coming into the company news and events, it kind of relates to what you saw in Guinea. Commodities will be wild this week, but now oil as well. The Saudis have decided to drop the sale price of oil in Asia to kind of capture the market share. So they did this beyond what OPEC was recommending or expecting, and we've seen them do actions like this before, but pretty much what they're trying to do is make it cheaper and sell their oil cheaper to certain areas so that they could pretty much take advantage of all the demand there. So depending on how this plays out, I would definitely watch oil tomorrow. That is going to be key. Then coming into El Salvador and even crypto, it had a wonderful weekend. Crypto was going crazy, but this was a big piece of news that happened. El Salvador's Bitcoin law is going to come in effect tomorrow, and that means that Salvadorians will be able to transact in Bitcoin and even pay their taxes. And now they're pretty much going to have this government wallet, the Chivo digital wallet. If you enter in your government ID in El Salvador, you will get $30 in Bitcoin. But now the government has already prepared 200 ATMs for the conversion so people could do it. And they also bought 200 Bitcoins over the weekend, and the president said they are not even close to being done. So we heard about this a while ago. You're finally seeing it take place, but then crypto and the effect that it has was already big coming into this weekend, had another solid weekend. We will see how it goes from there. Then coming into Germany, there is going to be the IIA Mobility Trade Show. It's already started, and it's kind of like a broad auto show, but it's encompassing travel, cars, bikes, and all of that. We even got to hear from some of the heads of Volkswagen, and they said that the chip shortage for automakers is probably going to last for a few more years. So that was key. Then aluminum, again, that hit that decade high. It was all over the concerns of bauxite. So we will definitely keep an eye on that one. That one's very important. And then for the Afghanistan situation, the Taliban says that they have defeated the last pocket of resistance and that they will be announcing a new government formation this week and the ability for flights to come in and out, that they're pretty much opening up the international airport. That is a big sign or a big factor of getting legitimacy, is that they will be allowing people to come in and leave as freely as they please. Sounds weird to say, but we will definitely watch out for that. The UN also vowed to keep their aid or something along those lines. So we will see how that's been playing out. Again, the situation is still, seems like every day there is something else with it, but for the most part, we have gotten over some of the more immediate risks. So we will watch what happens from there. Then Goldman has cut the United States growth forecast. They say that the consumer sees a harder path, and now they're expecting 5.7% economic expansion versus 6%. Then Ryanair ended talks for a follow-on Boeing MAX order after they failed to agree on price, and deliveries of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner will likely remain halted until at least late October, as there was a regulatory inspection. So it seems like that is coming in slower. So we'll watch how Boeing plays in tomorrow. And then finally, this one was weird. You know I love this one, but Mercedes is announcing an all-electric G-Wagon. This is how it looks. It looks even crazier from the back. The sides light up, but you also got a lot of news this weekend. Again, this is related to that auto show in Germany, but a lot of companies talking about EV demand, batteries, orders, and all of that. So keep your eye on that and all of the automakers this week with that convention going on there in Germany as we talked about. But it seems like that's what we got for this week. It seems pretty simple. You're going to be getting a lot of data from overseas. We will see how everything ties into our economic and jobs data that we get. And then if any overseas boost could help us, it should be good. But the summer is now ending. September is in full force, and it looks like the market is going to start picking up. So I hope you're ready. But that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, I got 3 or 4 different stocks that I'm going to be looking at tomorrow, but the first one, I made this play on Friday. This is the Warren Buffett rumor. We saw it last week, but AT&T. So, I went for the calls. We'll go over the specific play, but the idea here is what I talked about in that Thursday video. If you guys are watching, we got to play a firm. That was a nice 1,000% gain, but if you really look at that situation, it was essentially delayed news. We got a lot of these talks about the buy now, pay later, and then you saw this back and forth. The firm would pop. You saw one company get bought out. You saw a lot of people rush to this space, and then it chilled out for a few weeks, and then finally you got the Amazon deal. So last week it was an unconfirmed rumor, but it kind of makes sense given some of the purchases that Warren Buffett has made with like Verizon and all that. But there was a rumor that he bought some AT&T, so I'm thinking it could be about 2 weeks, maybe more, that it might sit there. Hopefully we get it sooner than later, but I wouldn't be surprised to see anything on this, so I decided to take a decent-sized play, couple $100, make sure I get some time on it, but it would allow me to kind of play this delayed rumor if anything did happen. So I really like the idea of this play. There's the logic on it as far as the specific play here. I grabbed the August 15th $29 call, so just right outside the money. Got 20 of them at $14 a share, so about $280 total. I plan to ride it out. I'm up on it a little bit, but I would not be surprised to see this one kind of fizzle out. This is just pure speculation if we get any of that news, and I would even be watching T-Mobile as well as Verizon too, but that is going to be the first play. As far as the second play, I want to watch Chegg. This one was an interesting thought that got brought up over the weekend over Barron's, but summer's pretty much ending. School is starting. It's getting us exposure to that play. The only other education plays are kind of the sketchier China ones. We saw what happened with Chegg and schooling over the last year and a half. It did do very good. So I think the play sounds decent. And even if you look at the stock coming into last September, they did have a pretty big move, and you could kind of compare it to what you're seeing now, except recently it has gone up a little bit. That's the only thing that kind of makes me nervous. But last September, they kind of had one of these pop and drop. So we will see how that one plays out. But I think it's a decent one. So I'm going to be watching that one. Then for the third play, Disney, we have those plays, but they declined about like 50%, I'm pretty sure. So it went back to its old ways of shooting up and then pretty much doing nothing. But the movie Shang-Chi had the best debut for a film opening over Labor Day, which was pretty surprising considering some of the box office numbers that we have seen. So I want to see how it plays out. How does the market take it? They did have good moves pretty much up until Friday of last week, and now the premiums are cheaper. So I think this one could be a decent one. I'm still in my play, but I will be watching them to see how they play out. And then finally, Amazon, Apple, Nvidia, any of the big runners that you're seeing, pretty much big tech leaders are still offering that defensive, offensive position. As people get worried about tapering, economy, whatever it may be, they're going into Amazon, Apple, and big tech as a defensive name, but it's really been on the offense as some of these leaders in the market there. So there's been a lot of moves, if not at the very least, even day trading opportunities. So I want to keep my eye out for them, and they are still just sitting at a very important level. But those are going to be the main plays. As far as everything else, like we said, Chegg, Disney, TMHC, Taylor Morrison, Home Corp, they got a nice positive article, and if you even look at them, they're pretty much a pretty good value play. They are a home builder, but some people were talking about them not really getting the same steam as a lot of these other plays. So I think it's at an interesting level. I will watch this one. This one's kind of now on my radar, so keep your eye out for them. Boeing, we had all of that news with Ryanair and then the Dreamliner, so it's kind of been struggling down here. Depending on how this plays out, this could probably create an opportunity, so I'd watch out for them. Then Toyota, they got a lot of news with the Apple Card last week, even like EV, and there was another piece, but coming into that auto show and everything else going on, all of the positive news, I like them, except for the fact that Toyota does trade a little bit illiquid. It doesn't really have a lot of volume, so the options and the trading on it are pretty weird, but for the most part, I really, really do like it. AT&T, like we said, and then Airbnb, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got the long-term text. First link in the description, and it costs you nothing, but as you can see, we are still stacking the Airbnb. I did make a long-term purchase with our deposit. I grabbed 14 more shares of Airbnb at 157.5 for the big account, and then 3 shares at the same price for the small account. It now brings our total positions on both YouTube accounts to 71 shares. We got 59 shares on the big account, and then we got 12 shares on this small account. So gonna be watching them again, even with Labor Day and the holidays and some things kind of chilling out. But for the most part, I just like where they're at, and I'm really just liking this position. They have been proven to be a pretty bright spot in the last month or so. So keep your eye on them. And then to the next chart, I would watch New and Caterpillar, anything related to commodities, infrastructure, all of that stuff, but especially commodity related with that stuff going on in Guinea. I think this could have a big effect, so I want to see if it kind of switches the gears on any of them. Watch them. Watch ASON. We're still in that play. I'm still liking it. Again, the volume's just getting bigger and bigger, and the float is very small. It doesn't really move like that, but I'm thinking maybe if it starts to get to this $100 level and everything else, this thing might have the potential to go crazy. So I am going to be keeping this as a runner-up for a double dip type play. We'll see what happens. NVIDIA sold out of that one play. I want to see how it plays out, but I do think this is a safety name along with Amazon and even Apple, so going to be watching them. And then Kroger, they have earnings on Friday. It does remind me of a lot of the activity we saw with Target and Walmart last week, so watch them. And then SVC, Service Properties, this one, it caught my eye. I don't really know what's going on with it. If anybody could answer this for me, but I was reading that Bitcoin article on Bloomberg. They had a full report, but they linked SVC to the article, and I couldn't find anything on with it. So if anybody has any idea on this one, let me know, but I think this one could be a sleeper. And then finally, coming to TLT and the dollar is going to be up tomorrow. It actually broke the trend here with us close today. We'll see how that plays out, and with some of the stimulus benefits and all of that. As far as the bonds, TLT is going to be interesting. I mean, this is probably going to be our range. It really hasn't moved much. We will need a big move on the dollar. The only key we're going to get tomorrow is how does the bonds react with the dollar going up. Other than that, nothing too telling, as we are still kind of digesting the tapering. But take note of what I said last week. Be on the lookout for a lot of them to kind of run in tandem with each other and kind of do the same move. That could indicate something, and it could indicate volatility. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate, healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shine. I need you to remember, doesn't need to get easier, just need to get stronger. But the code loves you. I love you. I'm gonna see you in the morning. Let's go.